Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and space rabbits. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Encrypted Connections. My name is Kyle. I'm your host, as usual. I hope you all had a wonderful day. Hope your week's going well. Let me start by saying hello to the people in the chat because you are the reason I continue to do this, even on the days when I don't feel like doing anything. Hi, Mom. Mom's here. Hi, Mom. I love you. My brother Fresh and Ben, top of the board. Jeez Louise, I know I shouldn't have thought anything less. You guys are gangsters. I love you. Carson, hello. Hope, how you doing this thing on? Hope, do you have your chainsaw ready tonight? I told you you've upgraded from a spork to a chainsaw, especially after last show. Get it ready. Who else here? Kay. E-Rev, what's up? Welcome. Oh, man. Sandy, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. You caught it live. Mom, she's here. Just so you know. You don't have to worry. Mary Albright, welcome, guys. Welcome. Thank you for being here. It's Flag Day today. It is Flag Day today. Happy Flag Day, everybody. So, interesting week. Last weekend was a little bit on the slow side with the property stuff. There it seemed to be very quiet, and then right as I was getting ready to leave, was approached from two sides by some things, animals, deers. I don't know. It sounded like the typical stuff I've been hearing. It sounded like 2 feet. Both sides, coming in pretty close, within, I'd say, about 40 yards, sticks breaking and all that. But that was it. That was all I got, was that. They came in and then went silent. One bush was kind of, moving and shaking on the side, and then boom, that was gone. It's probably the quietest that it's been so far in the month that I've been going up. Which, you expect that this is going to happen. It's probably going to be like that more often than not. It's one of these things where you've just been kind of blessed with stuff going on at such a high rate of activity that you're kind of left going, what the hell? But we're going to keep going back. And I have some plans. The long-term recorder is something that I'm trying to work on. I had ordered parts for it. Joe from Hellbent Holler. Big shout out to Joe and Jesse from Hellbent. They are part of this family. I love those guys so much. They're just amazing researchers, amazing people. They've haven't been feeling so well since their last investigation. If you guys didn't watch it, I say go watch it because it's incredible. They just do such great boots on the ground stuff. They are fearless warriors. They really are. But Joe has helped me to build this long-term recorder, so I can leave it out there for like 3 weeks a month and then go back, get that while I'm continuing to go each week, leave my other recorder, for a week, pick it up the next week, bring it home, listen to it, check it out, and then put it back out the following week. That way we have something going the whole time. So I'm working on that. I'm hoping that maybe sometime soon I'll be able to get one of these like cheaper plot cameras. I've seen them work a couple times, possibly to catch something that was, that was pretty questionable. More so than I think like most trail cameras don't really work well. And again, this is all conjecture and theory, like why they don't work, what they may give off, and why these things stay away from them. But I've seen twice now, somebody's caught something that looked pretty weird on a plot camera. So I'm trying to hopefully get one of those too, if I can find a cheap one. And then obviously the big thing from there after that is to get some kind of night vision or thermal, because my plan is to camp there. And so this is where we're going. If anyone's got any kind of ideas or thoughts about what else we should be doing there, I'm open to anything. Obviously, like if I'll try whatever, even if it sounds crazy, I'll try it. If you tell me to go play the flute in the woods while standing on my head because you've heard somewhere that it'll help, well, I'll try it. I don't know how well I'll balance, but I'll try it. The wildfires are horrendous. Yes, they are. Terrible, terrible stuff. Terrible stuff, man. Unfortunately, this is a part of nature. They happen. It's part of nature. It's part of the life cycle. It sucks. It's no good. It hurts people, takes houses out and all that stuff, but this is just part of the world we live in. It sucks. Plot camera. So a plot camera is a camera that basically takes stills every so often when it senses movement. It's used to check plots like on farms by farmers, but I don't think that they give off the same kind of maybe signal or energy or whatever that the game cameras do, because like I said, I've seen at least two now where it didn't look like any deer or bear to me, but still, you can't ever tell unless it's like a perfectly clear picture. But yeah, plot camera. Matter of fact, who used one of those was Tristan, Kaiju Ninja. Do you remember that video, that thing where it looked like it was walking on its knuckles? That was a plot camera that he caught that with. So this is why I'm trying to use one of those things. Just trying something different. I also want to try to use maybe some older recorders, like cassette recorders. So I'm not getting as much like digital interference in some of the recordings, the digital artifacts and whatnot. But again, this is all kind of a learning curve, trying stuff out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. Most stuff doesn't. Nature of the beast. If these things are out there, they don't want to be seen. They stay away as much as they can, which is why everything that's happened for the last couple of weeks at this property has been all the more incredible. But anyway, let me stop there. Let's start the show. Last week, we had on a member of this group, the CARC. This week, we have another member of that group on. He's also a part of one of my favorite shows on YouTube, This Week in Bigfoot. He is a researcher, and he's friends with Mike Lucci, and he's going to come on and talk about all that stuff and probably, give props to all those guys. It seems like such a wonderful group of guys. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Chuck Larson to the show. What's going on, Chuck?
What's up, Kyle? How are you, man? Thanks for having me on, bro.
I'm good, man. Thank you for being here. So we got matching hats.
Yes, we do, brother. Yes, we do.
These guys sent me this hat after I had just mentioned the show on one of the lives I did in the morning while I was walking Maverick. And I didn't even know that the segment that you took the segment and put it in there until somebody told me. They were like, "Hey, did you watch the show yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't watched it yet." And they're like, "Well, you're on it." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, they're like, "You're on it. They took the thing from your live and they put it on their show." And I'm like, "No way." And I had to go on and watch, and sure enough, there it was. And then Chuck contacted me, and he, thanking me for it. And like I told him, and I tell you guys, like, I will if it's a show, if it's a product, if it's, something I believe in, then I will do my best to put it out there to other people that they should, be supportive of it. And that's how it's been with this show. I think it's a great show. 30 minutes, you get your fill of what you need. And like we were talking backstage and you said, after that 30 minutes, if there's something on the show that you see and you like and you want to look into, then you go on and use your time to look into that thing. But man, it's such a great show.
Yeah. Brendan and Mike, they do their due diligence. Brendan with the finding the podcast and finding all the different YouTube shows out there. He does his research, and then he'll spotlight 3 or 4 of them every week, and then this way you guys the viewers can pick and choose what you want. If there's 2 you like from the one show, then you have 2 things to watch. But because we were talking before, I mean, it could be kind of overwhelming, just the amount of people with podcasts now and the amount of people with YouTube shows, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, so obviously we're one of them. We started out with a YouTube show from behind tall trees a couple years ago, and then it takes a lot for to put on those shows. So now we're able to trust me, Brendan and Mike, though they work their butts off.
You can tell. I mean, if you watch the show, you can tell it's not there is some real thought and time that goes into finding the stuff. I can tell you this because I have tried on multiple occasions to say, okay, I'm going to change the format of the show just a little. I'm going to do the interview stuff, but I think I'm going to maybe do a show once a month where I take, other reports from the internet and then kind of put them together and look at them and format it in this way. And man, I tried it and I'm like, this is insane. This is so hard because you don't know where to even start unless somebody's there going, hey, did you check this out? Did you see this?
Right. You almost need like an assistant to help you guide you through it. So it's kudos to I have the lucky. I'm lucky. I just look for the upcoming conferences, and I do my give my information to Brendan, and he puts in a nice script, and then I can read it off, and he coaches me through it. Maybe don't get me wrong. Brendan is a producer full, man. He makes sure that everything. Well, like you commented before on the intro, like that's all Brendan. The 2 minutes
so
with
good.
the Skinwalker, 2 minutes with me. He just edits all that stuff, and it's crazy. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it. And then Lucci, Mike, he does like all the research. Like he's going to be like when the passing of the torch happens, like the older guard kind of moves on. I think Mike is definitely setting himself up to be one of those guys that grabs the torch and continues on research for oncoming generation, because he, like you mentioned last week, he's very smart. He does his due diligence with the analytics and everything like that. So
he is. I mean, he blew me away, right? Like I knew he was a smart guy. I know that, like talking to Alex Petikoff, about him, that he was a smart dude. But when he said that he was doing statistics, right? And I just remember we were supposed to go on this trip. There was like 5 or 6 of us supposed to go on this trip, and all these things happened that made like I didn't end up getting there.
He told me about it. This guy got sick, and
the guy got sick there. It rained like hell. I mean, it was a mess. We tried really hard, and Alex really tried really hard to put this together. God bless him. He's such a good dude. He wanted everyone to go and have a wonderful time. That's the whole thing. Sometimes these things don't work out. It just didn't work out right. But prior to this, we had heard that it was possibly going to rain. And I remember in the chat, Mike saying something like, 88% of Bigfoot sightings are after rainstorms. And I'm like, where the hell did he get this stat? Where did he find that? And then to come to find out, he found it because he did all the research himself.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about time consuming and putting in effort, but you also have to be one smart cookie to be able to take all that stuff, that data, and put it together and then go, okay, boom, here's the correlation.
Yeah, no, he's pretty amazing. And I feel because when we do boots on the ground, like I usually go out with him, or I used to go out with him, but I feel bad because he's 20 years younger than me, so he likes to bushwhack, and he likes. And when I get out in the woods, man, I'm like, I'm a former smoker. I quit smoking like a year ago, but dude, I'm
I
like a
get it,
train.
dude.
Yeah, I'm a train wreck in the woods there, and I feel bad because he could be like 3 miles ahead of me, and I'm sitting there like dying on next to this freaking stump, But so I can definitely see how got frustrated with me, but yeah, no, he's, we would go out and we would put some of these, some of his about, his research into effect, like we would do we would take pictures of, like, say, like an orange, like we had like an orange cone and we'd hang it in a tree, and we'd go out like 10 feet, then we go out 30 yards, we go out and we put it at different heights, and then we would post it on our group saying, hey, what do you think, what's the height here? Because that's a lot of, what you guys were talking about last week. But a lot of times when people are, when they see something, they're like, oh, it's 15 feet tall or it's 8 feet tall. You know what I mean? So it's like, we did like the actual research and to say, hey, what do you how far do you think this was? 30 yards at 8 feet, and more times than not, people were close, but they weren't like exact. You know what I mean? So,
You did a segment on the show this week about that, didn't you?
I
With
think so.
there was a the spider
Yeah.
that people saw. They put a tarantula or whatever, or spider, and then they
Yep.
asked people to draw it or whatever, and
Yep.
people were drawing like 15% bigger than what the
Bigger. Yep.
spiders really were on average. But yeah, it's true, man. The the reactions that happen inside of your body when you're in stressful situations,
Oh
if
yeah.
everyone's different, obviously, but
Yep.
it's you can't, everyone has a reaction of
Yep.
some sort, and when those things are going on, it's easy to, if you're nervous, if you're scared or whatever, to look at something that's making you nervous and see it as being much bigger,
Yeah.
much closer, or whatever, much taller, all these things, because you're just like, whoa, you're already on edge. And this is just the way that your brain is comprehending these things. I think it's really interesting, though. It takes a special person to be able to have the patience to do
Yep.
that kind of stuff, because I couldn't.
Well, he's got a passion for it too, which is also good. He's, his passion shines through with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And and it's like I said, we have a great group of guys. Brendan, he does a lot. He does a lot of research. Like Brendan reads, he books upon books upon books. Like he's pretty much read all the Bigfoot books they have to, you know. And then Mike will do, his research, but then he'll also do his sides, the analytic stuff. So it's, like they said, there's no real experts in this community because you're looking for a mythical beast. So how can you be an expert?
Mm.
But one of the guys I saw at one of the conferences, Matt Pruitt, we actually had him on the show a couple of years ago. He's like, you could be an expert with all the research that's out there, though. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
granted, there's no experts per se, but you can be well read and very knowledgeable of what research is out there.
Yeah, that's that's
Mhm.
different. That's like
Yeah,
you can be, yeah, exactly. You can be an expert at the data that we have so
right,
far, but nobody knows what these things are or how
right.
they operate, from a scientific standpoint.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I agree
yeah.
100%. And yeah, it's awesome. It's funny. Listen to you talk about being out there with Mike. Maybe me and you should go out in the woods together sometime, because I think we're probably close to the same.
Yeah,
I'm these young guys. Like, I'm overweight now. I'm old, and I'm like, yeah, I can't keep up.
yeah. No, we'd be on the Appalachian Trail. And Mike's like, let's go bushwhack. I'm like, oh, really? But it's you find different stuff on. I mean, you'll find prints and off the beaten path, so to speak. But I'm like,
Yeah,
you're
sure.
looking up a hill. He's like, all right, we're gonna go up there. I'm like, oh, really? Jeez. But yeah, no, we I think we'd get along famously. Usually it's Brendan and I hanging out by the because usually when we go out investigating, we'll have 2 or 3 teams,
Hmm.
and Brendan and I will hang out at the the main truck, and then have guys kind of split, the two teams kind of splinter off of us, which is fine too, because you need a team that's just kind of still and just kind of listening to what's going on. You know what I mean? If you are scaring anything up, because they say this, they are curious too. So if you're just hanging out, doing your thing, talking, you might draw stuff into you as well. So
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how many stories do you hear over the years where people go camping and, someone they're like, I'm going to hang back or whatever.
Mhm.
Their friends go out for a walk or something. You go down by the lake, watch the moon or
Yep.
whatever. One or two of them hang back, and then all of a sudden something comes in.
Yep.
Guy's, woken up in his tent because something's touching the tent or someone's kicking stuff around. Yeah, absolutely. It's important, man.
Yeah. So I'm more for that research.
Yeah. I'd be that guy too. Speaking of research, so talk to me about a little bit about how you got your start doing this, and when and what was it that kind of provoked you to get into this topic?
Well, it was kind of, granted, I'm 50 years old. I told you that, or 50 plus years old. So my introduction into it was the In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy, with the Patty film, and
Oh, you froze again, buddy.
back in the late 70s or early.
You're freezing, bud. You're freezing on me. All right, bear with me, folks. Bear with me. This happened when we were backstage too.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, there we go. You're good.
Yeah.
No.
And then like the $6 Million Man with we had the Bigfoot, which was Andre the Giant. So, just the lore of it kind of, when you're younger. But what happened in my neighborhood, because, Patty obviously was West Coast, but what happened in Northwest New Jersey was there's this family called the Seitz family that actually had a Bigfoot come and like attack their rabbits. And it made the newspaper how one night this thing came in, basically destroyed the rabbit cage and ate a bunch of rabbits. So then the next night, the family's there with the neighbors with the guns, and the thing came back.
Oh no, you froze again.
And they started. So that kind of made it real for me.
Oh, Chuck, you keep freezing on me, buddy.
Yeah, New Jersey thing. So
hey, you froze on us again.
Oh, did I? Where'd you freeze on me? Where'd I freeze on you?
As you were talking about the coming back with the guns.
Oh, so the family was there with the guns, and the thing came back, and they started shooting at it. I don't think they didn't. They said one of them said they hit it, but it kind of ran off into the woods, and they didn't find any bodies or anything like that. So that kind of made it.
No.
Real for me at like 8 years.
Hey, Chuck. You froze again, pal. If you can hear me, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yep.
Can you do me a favor? Can you check? Can you go into your settings on StreamYard?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to camera.
Yeah.
And then click on your camera. And then what's the definition set at?
720. Should I lower it?
Try lowering it and see if that if that helps. Yeah, let's try that.
That might
first.
be it. That might be it.
So anyway, I'm sorry. We lost you right after
worries.
After you said they went looking for bodies and didn't find one.
I didn't find anything. So that was, basically my introduction into Bigfoot on the East Coast.
Okay.
They call it Big Red Eye here in New Jersey. So
yeah, Big Red Eye. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard of that. So, but yeah, so that's back when I was younger. Obviously, living in New Jersey, living close to the city, you go away from it for a while, and then I got back into it from finding Bigfoot. It was that was what kind of the catalyst, and then what got me into doing the podcast and stuff like that was there was a guy in my town that actually had a show, and when Finding Bigfoot went off the air, I kind of reached out to him like, "Hey, you ever want to talk about Bigfoot? Let me know." And then he kind of like brought me into the show, and that's where we met. I met Sean and Brendan, and tell his dad to get off Facebook. I shut off his Wi-Fi already. We fixed the camera. So that's how we became a part, was Brendan, myself, and Sean, and then we brought Mike in. We're all part of this other production that we kind of had enough of, and we just wanted to do our own thing. So, but Brendan, just to give Brendan some props, Brendan did like the videos for this guy, and you could tell how talented Brendan was. So you're like, yeah, well, of course you follow where the talent go, follow the talent, So
yeah, right.
We jumped on board with Brendan. But a lot of my experiences though all happened before like the internet, the internet. So it was kind of cool watching the Finding Bigfoot show and seeing and hearing some of the stuff. And then obviously the BFRO website, you read all these, sightings, and you're like, wait a second, that sounds familiar. That happened to me. And, that happened to me. But, I really didn't have anything to bounce it off of back in the day because it was just, weird stuff happening. So.
Right. It was that show for all the negativity that people talk about it, because it's a TV show.
Yeah.
It's just like this, the new one. What's it? Expedition Bigfoot. Bottom line is it's an entertainment show. That's what it's for. It's for entertainment. There's a level of reality to it, right? I talked to Bobo before, and Bobo's said, that they really fought hard to get more reality into that show, because the producers really didn't want much at all. And Bobo and them were like, well, listen, here's the deal. If you don't let us at least do this our way, then we're walking. And I think they probably got more of their way than most shows like that would. But it's a TV show at the end of the day. So things are being filmed over and over to get the right reactions and at the right times and all that stuff. So there's a high level of fabrication, at least as far as that goes. I don't think that they were out there faking, noises or anything like that. But there's a lot of negativity that comes around it. The good thing about shows like that, and this is what I'll say, is that at least it's bringing the topic to a wider audience, right? It's taking a topic that may not normally reach certain people, and it's reaching more people now because it's on a regular channel on your cable network. And if there's an upside to these things, then that's the upside.
I think it was cool though with that show is
oh, you're freezing again, buddy. You're freezing again.
Yeah. All the different that that was the cool thing for me. You know what I mean?
You froze up on us again, Chuck.
Oh, sorry, brother. It's I don't know, for some reason this is not doing well tonight. But like I said, like the good thing about it was he freezes up when he's at Dad is online in the other room. I took him off the Wi-Fi. He's off the Wi-Fi. I'm off the Wi-Fi. Everyone's off the Wi-Fi. But I thought the cool thing was them spotlighting different states. Namely New Jersey, Pennsylvania. They did Maine and all these different places where you didn't think there would be a Bigfoot, and they spotlighted it, which was cool. Kentucky, so.
Yeah, I had never heard anything much about the East Coast as far as Bigfoot was concerned, except for up north and like
Whitehall.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, Whitehall, obviously, and like Pennsylvania. I hadn't heard anything about Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Jersey. Never, not as far as Bigfoot went, but they did. They had they had sightings, and that was really cool.
Actually, the one place that they did their well, the one lady that they spoke to on the New Jersey show, Mike and I actually went and investigated her property. We had some activity. So
Really?
yeah, it was back in the day when the lady had the her encounter. It was mostly farmland, and it was right by the Appalachian Trail. And this house was basically back in the day. Appalachian Trail was like a dirt road that kind of ran past this neighborhood, and now it's a development. But the development has like a lot of like foreclosed houses in it, and so it's basically empty. But we were, this woman invited us to her property to walk the property and just and we had Mike did some clacking. We did bushwhacking, of course, and I love that. But but Mike did. We did some. We got to a point where the power lines were, and Mike clacked a couple times, and we heard something large kind of scurry away. What didn't sound like a deer. It almost sounded like a big enough to be a bear, but we didn't see anything. So that was kind of cool. So by this time it was dusk out. So I'm like, Mike, I'm not walking through the woods back to this lady's house. Let's just follow the cut down to the road and go to the take the road back to their house. And we hung out, and then we hung out in this lady's deck, and it was this lady and her sister, and then Mike and I. And we weren't allowed to film there. We weren't allowed to record or anything because she wanted to keep really, anonymous. But sure enough, we got a clack. And this is what I remember. You hear the clack, like a rock clack. Then you hear 4 more clacks. You hear clack, and then clack, 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 clack. And then probably about 30 seconds later, you hear a wood knock back. So I'm like, Mike, where's the recorder? Start recording. And then after like a while, we heard a tree get pushed down.
Oh, wow.
Which was kind of cool and the weird thing about the tree being pushed down was this yard was seriously like 45 degrees. So, and the tree kind of fell sideways. And then you hear like these heavy, what you thought would be rocks. They didn't go down the hill because the gravity would have pulled them. You heard them going like, horizontally across the map. So it had to be footfalls. So,
cool.
Yeah. So that was, that was kind of a neat experience we had together. But like I said, we weren't allowed to record any of it because they were just like, we want to keep this, between us. So I was like, oh, so. But
that's always cool. The private property is really like what I think any Bigfoot researcher is really waiting for, is like to find somebody who's got activity going on private property. So this way, if you're the person who they reach out to, then it's like, okay, now I have a real controlled, at least as much as you can have a controlled environment, right?
Sure.
Because you're not getting outside people coming in here. You're not getting hikers walking through.
Right.
Who's there and when they're there, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah, that's really awesome, and that's cool that you were able to have activity there because it gives a little credence to the show. That there was something going on there. That there was the one that happened in Connecticut too. I had spoke to somebody who had gone and done an investigation there.
Yeah, that was Bobo and.
Oh, you're breaking up again, buddy. You're breaking up. Crapola. Hey, what's going on, Hellbent? How you doing, Joey? Thank you for being here. I hope you're feeling better, man. I hope you and Jesse are feeling better. I know it was a heck of a investigation the other night. God bless you. You guys are beasts. I don't know how you do it. I could not go into these places with this crazy stuff going on. I'll stick with the Bigfoot stuff. You guys can keep that other shit. I don't want anything to do with that. But I'm glad you're here, man. You there, Chuck?
I'm here, brother. Yep. Sorry.
No, it's okay, man. It's okay. So yeah, the Connecticut one, it was, I believe it was like Bigfoot at the barbecue or something. So I had some kind of name like that or whatever. Family was having a barbecue and saw the thing kind of run through the backyard or whatever. Do you remember that episode?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So I spoke to somebody who, matter of fact, it was after I had talked to Bobo. I spoke to somebody about, talking to them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well, I actually went and did an investigation at the Connecticut place afterwards, and same thing. They were like, we had activity when we were there on their property. We saw kind of weird stuff in the woods that didn't really make sense to, just didn't look like natural occurrences, and there were rocks that were piled up in weird places that just didn't belong. And then they had the same thing. They had knocks. They had a couple whoops at one point, and then, footsteps, bipedal footsteps is what they described it as.
Wow.
But exciting stuff. It's just so exciting, man. It doesn't get old. It just doesn't get old to me.
No, it doesn't. It's. And that's what it takes. Like, it's almost like golf. It's like I play like shit for 18 holes, but then my last hole I like birdie. I'm like, fuck. I'm in for, So, that's the Bigfoot. Yeah. So Bigfooting, you'd be like, go weekends and weekends and weekends and not find anything, but then you get one knock or one like little howl, or like, oh, okay, get back in.
Yeah, exactly. It just pulls you in, man.
Mm-hmm.
The mystery. It's the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
It's dangling that carrot in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're starving, you're getting close, and you get the closest you've ever gotten to getting a bite of that carrot, and you're like, well, I can't give up now. I gotta go. I gotta keep going.
Yep. No, yeah, it's frustrating, but then also it's exhilarating at the same time. So but I could definitely get back. This year I haven't really been out in the woods, so I got to get out again and start walking around again and experiencing some stuff. But a couple times, I mean, back in the day, like the late 90s is when I got a bunch of my stuff, and it was when I was hiking with my ex-fiance, and I don't know if they were attracted to her, but we got a bunch of times, we got like the feeling that we were being watched. And I could have sworn, like, we were in the Adirondacks one time, I could have sworn I heard some samurai chatter, but because we were, it was, there was no one around. There wasn't really anything to echo off of anything, so people weren't really, you couldn't really hear people echoing. And I was like, that's kind of cool, but you got the feeling of someone was watching you. And then one time in my town, we were walking with my sister's. She had like a blue tick hound. She's like, "I'll take the dog for a walk." So we decided to walk up this mountain in my town, and we were walking, and we were feeling like we were getting watched, right? And we kept on walking. But then what freaked me out, what kind of stopped us from walking, was I started feeling like almost intimidated. It went from being watched to like an intimidation feeling. But the dog I was with, and it's a hunting dog, so you figured, they chase rabbits and they chase deer, they chase bear, they chase everything. This thing was like, I'm not going any further. He kind of stopped and stood in front of me, but then most of his body it was weird the way he had like one leg in front of me, but the rest of his body was behind me. Like, we're not going anymore. I'm like, well, if he doesn't want to go, I'm not going. Screw it. I mean, I'm a big hero. I mean, I'm not going to be the idiot that's, running. I'm going to be the one that's running backwards. But
I get it.
So
the dog thing is crazy though, because you hear these stories often, right? Yeah. Dogs who are normally gung-ho hunters with dogs who are like, not afraid to chase a mountain lion up a tree. Yeah. And they're like, nope, I'm not going in there. Tail between the legs, head down, like
like whimpering. I'm like, man, So like, but we do have in Jersey. I mean, they don't recognize it, but we do have mountain lions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it wasn't a mountain lion, because that's really, I'd rather see a Bigfoot than a mountain lion.
Shit, I say it all the time. I'm like, those things scare the hell out of me. I don't ever want to come in contact with one of them. They are nasty. They attack from behind. You won't even see it coming.
No, yeah, no. They always say you got to look up. Just look up in the trees every once in a while, because those fuckers will jump down on you and nail you.
Oh yeah, they were. Somebody was telling me. I was talking to a guy. I ran into an old man. He was probably in his like 70s. He was hiking in Patchogue, where I usually go. It was a rainy day, and I was out there by myself. I always like to try to say hi if I catch somebody on a trail way in the middle of the woods, because the trails there, they go winding through the woods. Some are deep, some are dark, and I'm coming out of the woods. Like,
Mhm.
I'm coming out of the woods onto the trail, and there's this old man, and he's probably looking at me going, what the hell is this guy doing? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big guy. I'm tattooed, get a
Yeah.
beard. These old guy might think like, oh boy, oh boy. So I was
Uh,
trying my best to just say, hey, how you doing?
mm,
And I did with him and asked him if he had ever heard anything weird out there. And he was like, well, I don't know. What do you consider weird? And, he said at the end of the day, basically what he said was that no, he didn't, nothing like that. But he had walked almost into a mountain lion crossing the trail
oh.
one day. And I said, dude, that's my biggest fear. He goes, yep,
Mhm.
she came out just like you did. She walked out of the tree line onto the trail about 30 yards ahead of me. She stopped, turned, looked at me, and then kept walking. And I said, yeah, how scary was that? He was like, yeah, it was one of the scariest moments of my life.
Oh god, yeah. Probably life flashed in front of his eyes. It's like, oh Jesus.
Man,
Yeah.
you see the videos. They chased people down.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. I think it was in Montana or something like that.
Yeah.
Oof.
It
Nope.
was jumping at him with his
Yeah.
claws out and
Yeah.
hissing and nope, no thanks. I'm all
It
good with
followed him
that.
for like it seemed like a mile. It followed him
Yeah,
for a
dude.
while.
Yeah, man. I'm all good. You can
Yeah.
keep them things.
Mm-hmm.
Keep them. I haven't had a Bigfoot chase me yet. So,
No. Yeah, exactly.
but so tell me a little bit more. You got any more stories about some of the activity that you've had over the years, stuff that stands out to you?
I'm trying to think. I mentioned the. I had a weird. My family used to live on a lake, kind of like the Waco River starts in my town and goes all the way up and goes into the Hudson River. It's like one of the only rivers that flows north. My family lived right kind of by where the head of the river was, and I had a weird uh, situation where I was in their living or their family room watching TV one night, right? And it they didn't believe in AC, so we had all the windows open.
Oof,
It was like August, and
that's my nightmare.
it's awful. Yeah, 30 pounds overweight. I'm like, this is great,
That's my nightmare, man.
but yeah. So, but I get this. I got the smell of just putrid smell,
Mm,
like, and it was like I thought it was maybe some dead fish from the lake, but it was worse than that. It was like fish. It was like fecal. It was urine. It was just like a bo. It just smelled like just awful, right? And once again, I got this feeling that something's watching me. So of course I get it from the TV and I turn on the back light, and of course where I'm looking, there's no lights there. So go back down, and this happened for like a couple hours. My parents' cat. So once I'm over by the window, like just looking out of the window. I shut off the lights now. I'm just looking out of the window, see if I could see anything. And my parents' cat walked up to the window and started like hissing, like. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like really like, I'm like, this is not right. So finally, I'm like, screw it. I'm just sat back down, kept watching TV, and then sure enough, like a half an hour later, something large like hit where I was sitting was against the wall of my family room. Something hit the wall where I was sitting, like whack, like hit the side of the house. And then once again, you hear like heavy footfalls, like running. Of course, I get up and I go run out the front door to see if I could catch anything, and I couldn't see anything. But it was like so weird. And of course, once that happened, it didn't stink anymore. Like the smell was gone. So, like I said, I don't know. You go on the BFRO sites, you go to different sites, and you see, you hear like a lady had that happen to her. Like this thing hit the side of my house. I'm like, oh shit, that happened. You know what I mean? So,
that's one of the things that the property that I'm currently investigating up in northeastern Connecticut, right on the border of Mass. That's one of the things that happened to them multiple times, and it always happened really late at night, early in the morning. Every time it was always between like 1 and 3:30, always.
Wow. The bewitching hour, right?
Yeah, and the owners, they're an elderly couple. They've lived on this land. He's been, it was his grandfather's land, and
Okay.
it was a working farm at one point. And then obviously the farm, these small private farms kind of collapsed, and so he had over 100 acres, and then sold off the majority of it, but kept 48. And so he's got 48 acres that butt right up to the state forest in Massachusetts.
Wow.
So he's surrounded by woods. I mean, literally
Mhm.
surrounded for like thousands of acres. And over the last few years, he started having these weird things happen. And he kept thinking it was kids or something, even though he's like, his nearest neighbors are a mile that way and
Mhm.
3/4 of a mile that way, separated by all this thick woods, and no one has kids. They're all grown.
Mhm.
But he kept thinking it's kids. It's got to be kids. It's got, just by the things that were happening. They seemed mischievous. They were at night. And,
Sure.
but the smacking of the house kind of rattled him, because he said that it was just so hard that you
Yeah.
could feel it shaking the floor.
Mhm. No, this
And
thing was loud. Yeah.
yeah, right. And you hear, like you said, you hear this over and over. People have it happen. He ran outside with his gun and he's got lots of lights to light up the yard because it's dark, and if
Mhm.
something comes through there, he wants to know. And he's like, I didn't see or hear anything. It was dead
Right.
silent. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm going, probably right inside the tree line, just watching,
Right.
and probably chuckling, laughing, going, "Ha ha, got him."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, so, as soon as I mean, when that happened, went out and got one of those big beams. So like, if anything happens like that again, I'll have like a nice flashlight to look where the lights aren't. So, but yeah, no, that was a weird situation. At one time, I'm not gonna say I saw one because I don't know what the hell I saw, but it was weird because it was in summertime, and I'm looking out over this field, and it was like 80 degrees with like 90% humidity, so it was hot. And you look in this field and you see something. The grass was like 4 feet high, so you see something that's like a couple of feet higher than the grass line, and it looked like a guy in a ghillie suit, but it was like more brownish reddish. It wasn't like there wasn't green in it. There wasn't any. And I'm like, what? That guy's got, why would you be, it's not hunting season, first of all. Why would you be standing in a tick infested field in a ghillie suit in this 90-degree weather? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
80-degree weather, And I'm watching this thing, and also it kind of, and it wasn't a bear because I didn't see a snout, and our bears are jet black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
can tell if it's a bear. And it kind of crouched down. It didn't like kind of fall forward like a bear. If a bear was up on its hind legs, it didn't like fall forward. It kind of just kind of crouched down, and then I didn't see it again. So I'm like, either this dude is really into hunting or planning his, hunting ability in the summertime, practicing, and he's crawling all over the place. But why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know what it was I saw, but I'm thinking it wasn't a hunter because just the time of year and the weather,
You got to use your powers of deduction at that
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah.
What makes the most sense? And
Right.
Occam's razor has to cut our way at some point. I mean, a hunter in a ghillie suit, not hunting season, tick infested field, hot as hell outside, and if you know the northeastern humidity, I promise you, even if you're not fat like me, you're not going to want to be in a ghillie suit when it's 90% humidity. It's going to be miserable.
And where the hell did he go? I mean, it just kind of knelt down and then just kind of disappeared. I'm like, because you watch for like, where is this guy going to come out somewhere else? Or, and he just kind of it disappeared. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool.
Well, like I said,
I get it. You got to play devil's advocate. But man, if it's me, I mean, on the outside, I would say, yeah, you probably saw one at that point, man.
Right.
But
So,
I get it. I know how it goes.
I'll leave it as a maybe.
A maybe, yeah. That's all we got anyway. It's all you got is maybe. It's possible that I saw one, and you could be 2 feet from it and still, because you don't have the ability to bring it home with you and study it, it's still a maybe.
It's still a maybe. Yep.
Still a maybe.
It's just a story.
Yep. It's I have to tell you, we were talking about this before the show, before we got on here. Everybody knows that I'm a huge fan of the show. One of my favorite segments of the show, like I was telling you earlier, is 2 Minutes With.
Yeah.
If you guys don't watch the show, you're just missing out. I promise you, on a lot of things. The 2 Minutes With Snow Walker is one of my favorite segments. It is absolute genius. He's so damn funny.
Yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
gets 2 minutes to just go off on whatever's bothering him
Bothering. Yep.
at that time, and every time I'm dying. Like he went off on Expedition Bigfoot this
Oh
week.
yeah. Myra. Yeah. Myra's
Myra's
hysterical.
ass.
Myra's ass.
Why are you still staring at it?
That's. But it's
Dude,
also cool because when Brendan like flips, he'll like put like a movie scene in or something like that. He stops the clock, and then once he's done with it, then it starts up again. So
yeah,
it's pretty genius how they
it really is.
he's a great Brendan and Michael did a show a couple weeks ago, the Squatch Talk with Pat Turner, and they were both on, and it was entertaining to say the least. But yeah, they're both Michael's very smart, and Brendan can hold his own. He's very, like I said, he's very studied and very knowledgeable, and so yeah, they could definitely hold their own.
It's such a great show, man. It really is. It's put together so well. The white erase board segment this week too. We were talking about what's his name? I forget the name of his channel, and I've been a subscriber to it for a couple of years now. Dr. Cunningham, I think he calls himself, and he did this chart. It was 1 through 10 on the probability you're going to see a Bigfoot or you want to see a Bigfoot versus how much you fuck around.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just so good. It's so good. If you guys aren't subscribed, please, you got to go check it out. It's such a great show. And it's so professionally done, man. I just get on here and kind of wing it all the time. And like, I look around and I see other people's stuff and I'm going, damn, I wish I had the time or the ability to put this together in a way that looked more and felt more like that. Because it's just put together so well. Like I was saying before, the intro is just, it's so damn good. It's so good. The editing on that show is it's flawless.
That's all Brendan. Yeah, he's talented, man. He's very, very talented. And even like when we did our From Behind Tall Trees show, like the intro, that was my favorite. And I love that intro to that show. But yeah, that's Brendan just, he gets pictures of us and he works his magic and the music and it's just sick what he can do. But that's what I was saying before that, when Brendan was like, yeah, I'm thinking about leaving this guy and start my own thing. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You go where the talent is, It's like,
yeah.
I mean, between Brendan and Mike, with his research, and Sean's awesome with with the paranormal and Bigfoot, and then Gwen also. I forgot to mention Gwen. She's affiliated with us. She's a big team. She owns Got Knockers, which is a apparel company, but she's a very active team member, and she has her show on our channel. But she's very knowledgeable too. I always said if CARC had an office, I'd probably be opening the mail and watering the plants because these guys are just all tremendous, and girl and Gwen, they're all very tremendous researchers and investigators, and very knowledgeable. I'm still like a fan. You know what I mean? I'm still kind of like, and Brendan always breaks my balls about it, but I'm still kind of like a fanboy about it.
Yeah,
still,
but you kind of have to be though, don't you? Like that's just part of it. Like if you're not a fan, you're not going to do it anymore.
Right.
You have to have that fan, and you have to have that piece of kid in you that remembers the first time that you saw something strange in a book or a magazine or a comic or TV show that grabbed you. And you just went, whoa, imagine if the world was more than what they tell us.
Yeah, tell us, yeah. That's how I kind of found my niche in the group. I would go to all the conferences. Like I've been to a bunch of them. And I suggest, we got one coming up, and I want to plug it real quick, is Gwen is throwing it. It's going to be the Central PA Bigfoot Encrypted Festival. It's going to happen on August 12th at Elysburg, Pennsylvania. So if you get the weekend open, man, come out because Brendan and I are emceeing it. I'm sure Mike will be there. Sean will be there.
August 12th
Yeah, August 12th.
in Pennsylvania. That's doable. I could do
Yeah.
that.
Eliasburg. It's kind of central. It's like you said you went to the whatchamacallit, Cabela's at one time. It's kind of close to that. So
Oh no, I didn't go there.
you didn't go that. Well, which one did you go to?
No, I went to the one in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, oh, you want to go to the one in Pennsylvania?
No,
Okay.
I didn't go to the one down there. But no, but we were talking about Pennsylvania when Mike was on the show though about about Allegheny.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
dude, this is a place that's on my bucket list. Like I have ever since I've been like into this topic, this has been a spot where I've wanted to go forever.
It's a cool area.
You went with him, right?
Yeah, I was there. And then also we're friends with the guys at Cryptovania. Are you familiar with them? Cryptovania?
No.
Tommy Cooper and Jason Trost.
No.
They're out there. They're on the western side of the Allegheny.
Okay.
So they're between the Allegheny and like Ohio, and they have a pretty cool area. Yeah. So, but that area is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Even where Gwen is though, like that's the state land, game lands that Mike was talking about. That's like right there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I want to go down there so bad, man. I told Mike, I said, if you guys ever take a trip down there again, please let me know if you don't mind one person tagging along. I would love to go.
Absolutely. You can hang out by the truck with me.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. I'll have to get my all sweaty and my sweat rag out.
Trust me. A lot of off.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes love you when you're sweaty. Ugh.
Oh, dude, yeah, they love me anyway. Even before I put on the weight and was sweaty, they loved me. I don't know what it is. You figure after all the years of doing damage to your body, they'd be like, poison, stay away.
Yeah, no.
When
I used to smoke, I was like, yeah, go ahead, get your nicotine fix. But now they don't smoke anymore. But yeah, no, PA is definitely a spot you should get to. You have been up to Whitehall yet, or no? You've been up to that area?
Haven't been to Whitehall. I've been to the Catskills. That was just a few months back, but no, I haven't been to Whitehall. I was making a plan to go up at some point this year when I first started the channel, and I made friends with some really great folks who have their own channels, Lake Ferry and Bigfoot Lake. They're husband and wife. They're just wonderful folks, and they live right up there.
Yeah.
And they're friends with Brian Gosling.
Yep.
Who, if anyone doesn't know, Brian Gosling was one of the police officers who was dispatched to that infamous Bigfoot sighting up in Whitehall that made that place what it is as far as Bigfoot lore goes. And he's written books, and so they're friends with them. And so I had a plan. I was going to go up and visit them, and then they were going to show me around. I was going to go to Whitehall, possibly get to meet Brian. But you know how this stuff goes, man. Like life happens, it gets in the way, and it's just tough. But I want to go. I'll definitely get up there at some point. One girl who I had on the show, I don't know if you're familiar with Emily Floor, the Forest Floor. Yeah, Emily, she's awesome. She had gone up there right before I think she came on the show, and then she moved somewhere up there too because she was in New York, but not anywhere near where like there was researchable areas. And she just said, you know what, screw it. Like, I want to do this full time. And so she packed up and moved up there.
Wow.
Kudos to her because,
that's dedication. Yeah.
Dedication. It's not easy. Moving sucks anyway. And to be that, she's young. I mean, she's like in her 20s, and to just go, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Like, God bless her. I think it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I want to go up. I really want to go there. I want to go up to the White Mountains in New Hampshire, and do maybe a camp out there for a weekend or something. And then I think we're planning on going to Vermont this fall, to the original spot where we were going to go before the plans got turned upside down. We found out the campground wasn't open and we couldn't get in and all that stuff. So we're planning on doing that. And yeah, man, I'm just like everybody else when it comes to this stuff. If I have the opportunity to go to any of these wonderful places where there's history of activity or There was at one point, you know,
Yeah.
if I had the opportunity to go to Bluff Creek, of course I'm going to go to Bluff Creek. I mean, who the hell wouldn't?
See, that's when I was 25 or 26. I drove across country with my buddy.
Yeah,
'Cause that's back in the early 90s. That's what you do.
yeah.
Or mid 90s. You load up your Jeep and we headed west. And that's back when I was kind of into Bigfoot, but not really.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we were driving through California. And we went over the Golden Gate Bridge and went up to Eureka, and we took a right. And of course, we drove right through Willow Creek.
Oh,
And I was like, and I'm kicking myself now because I was like, I saw there's like I said, this is mid 90s. So there's still a lot of Bigfoot museums up there. And, so obviously you saw a Bigfoot motel. And I'm
yeah.
like, but he wasn't into it. And I was like, we were heading to his cousin's house or something like that. And I'm like, oh man, if I could just do that trip over again, I just would have spent like 3 days there. 4 days there. But
Yeah, for sure, man. I think about that stuff too. Like I wish I had taken the initiative when I was younger and into this stuff to go to these places when I could, when it was easier to do, than it is now when you're in your mid 40s and you got all these other bills and all that shit to worry about all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just
Another spot you keep on your bucket list is Salt Fork. That's
Salt Fork
in Ohio.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. I mean, they have that conference every year. We're gonna go, I think, next year, Brendan and I. But I mean, that's another hot spot. Sean actually had an experience. He was when we were with the other show. He was doing a solo investigation. He was kind of, live streaming in the middle of the night. It was like 1:00 in the morning. I think I was like there was like 2 or 3 other people watching him, and he's sitting at this picnic table talking. All of a sudden, you hear in the background a big loud wood knock, and I was like, "Oh man, Sean, you just got it, man! You got the."
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, there's a trail called the Buckeye Trail. I think that's pretty famous for like having sightings and stuff like that. So
Salt Fork, yeah, I knew I had heard of it. I remember there being maybe a few years ago there was a hoax video that came out of there. Those guys had tried to say that they filmed 2 Bigfoots carrying chickens through the woods. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, it was hoax though, right?
Yeah, it was a hoax. It was really bad, but this is what you get. Hope, Salt Fork, Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. She lives in Ohio. Hope does.
Oh wow. Oh, she's like right in the.
It's they're Ohio Grassman. That's like, that's part of that for their folklore there. Close to the Wayne National Forest. Is it close to the Wayne National Forest? Maybe. I don't know my Ohio geography.
It's like an hour south of like Columbus.
Okay.
Not Columbus, Canton. I'm trying to think. Canton. Yeah, it's like hours south of Canton.
Okay. There's a lot of places. I really want to go North Georgia. I've heard some stories coming out of there that are just insane.
There's that guy Matt Pruitt I was telling you about before. That's where he does a lot of his stuff, or that's where I think he lives in Nashville now, but that's where he was doing a lot of his stuff, like North Georgia, Western North Carolina, like that whole South Carolina right there.
Yeah, man.
There's
that stretch. It's like it's the Tennessee, it's West Virginia, it's North Carolina, it's South Carolina, it's Georgia. Like all of them have history of this stuff. Like going. I mean, this is where like grandparents would tell their kids, you better get in before dark or the booger get you.
Booger get you, yeah.
Booger get you, and they weren't kidding. The people laugh. It's like it's a joke, but it came from somewhere.
Oh heck yeah,
somewewhere, man.
No, it's when old people talk and old people and Native Americans talk, you definitely listen to their folklore and their stories because
that generation. If you're talking about like our grandparents, that generation didn't talk about stuff that wasn't real, right? There wasn't no messing around or anything. If they said something, it was because it was true.
But I think a lot of times though, a lot of these encounters never go publicized because a lot of these people keep to their own. I know a lot of the farmers up in my county, they're really conservative and they don't want to be talked about at church, or they want to be talked about in town, and you know what I mean. So they see something, they're gonna just shut up and keep it to themselves. You know.
Right, deal with it the way they did.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like exactly what I am dealing with this property, where
Hmm.
he had this stuff going on for a number of years,
Hmm.
and I think deep down he knew that it was some of this stuff was just a little too weird to be kids,
Hmm.
but he was fearful of speaking about it out loud
Yeah.
because he's old school. He grew up in a
Yeah.
different generation, different time.
Yep.
He lives in a small town community. You know, he didn't want. He still. I don't tell anybody the town. They don't. I haven't said their names because they don't want anything to do with it. They want it. I
Yeah.
mean, luckily he's been very open to me, and so is his wife. God bless her. She's the sweetest thing. But
Nice.
been very open to me. He's showed me around. He's even come out in the woods with me a few times during the day to like hike and look around. We take the ATV out and had some things happen when he's out there too. But as far as outside of the house, leaving me and him and that conversation, no, he doesn't want anyone else to know anything. Just like you said, conservative. It's just a different
Yeah.
mindset. The culture's different. You don't want you don't want anyone to think you're crazy. You don't want be talked about bad at your job, and
Yeah.
it's just different.
Yeah, it is different. So if you got all these things, I mean, you want to, I mean, you're more than welcome to join us in the collective if you want, man. Come on, be part of the team. You know,
Oh, dude, I'd love to.
yeah, absolutely. We'll keep you, because Mike lives right in Westchester, so and you're in Connecticut, and I'm in Jersey. Brendan's in Catskills, and then Sean and Gwen are in PA. But we can definitely get together and start doing some investigating, and
I
do
would
some
love that,
stuff.
man. That'd be
Yeah,
amazing. I do all
yeah,
this by
absolutely.
myself. I have nobody.
Yeah, that's not fun.
I have no one. I go out alone every single time. I have nobody nearby that either has the schedule that they can do it, and I go out every weekend, man. I'm obviously
Wow.
not traveling 1,000 miles, but
No.
I go out every weekend to get to do some kind of investigating. And what sucks is because I'm alone, I haven't been able to do any overnights because I'm not going out in the woods camping overnight by myself. It's just not smart,
Yeah. No. That's one thing when we go camping in PA. Like Sean's always carrying. He's got his what's it? What's
That's
it say?
who
603
603
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. That's the guy. That's the Cunningham guy.
I can't even go. Yeah.
So funny. He calls himself a doctor and an expert on all things Bigfoot, but it's satire. It's very funny. But
Wow.
sorry, go ahead.
No.
I didn't mean to interrupt
But
you.
like I said, when we go out in PA, Sean's always got his firearm with him because not to protect you from Bigfoot, but just to protect you from other people. In the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too, and I've gotten a lot of stuff like flack from certain people about that, and I tell them like, listen, here's the deal. I'm by myself. Number one. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, I have to come home, right?
Uh-huh.
I have to get home. I
Yeah.
have bills I have to pay and take care of things. I have to come home. So, it's not the Sasquatch that I'm worried about. I
No.
mean,
It's the other
to a
people. Yeah.
degree, it's like, you don't know for sure, but here's the thing. I'm sure I would bet just about anything on the fact that they've been around me on multiple occasions close by.
Sure.
And I've never once felt like they were
Threatened. You're
angry.
threatened. Yeah.
They weren't angry. If they wanted me gone, I'd be gone. That
Right.
nobody would know. I would disappear. And that
Yeah.
hasn't happened, right? It's for the human beings out there who are, whack jobs, nutcases, and assholes. And it's for those possible run-ins with things like cougars.
No, absolutely. It's funny. The Squatch Watchers, we met them down at the Virginia conference a couple of years ago.
I love those guys, by the way.
They're awesome. But they joke around. My nickname, their nickname for me is Pinky Rings, because of the one time when I first met them, I was telling them like Sasquatching in New Jersey. I'm like, there's two things I don't want to run into in New Jersey in the woods. It's a mama bear and her cubs, and a couple guys with shovels and pinky rings. And they thought that was the best. They thought that was the best thing ever. So So every time they see me, they call me Pinky Rings. Like Pinky Rings. I'm like,
Oh, that's great, man. That's a great
but it's
nickname.
yeah, but it's true though. I mean, because I wouldn't. I mean, shit.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
If you're from up here, you know what
yeah.
that means.
Well,
Pinky rings and the
yeah.
Pine Barrens. We're good.
Pine
I'm
Barrens. Well,
all
up,
set with
with
that.
Connecticut and
Yeah,
Catskill, all over.
I'm
Yeah.
good, man. I don't want to run into him either.
No.
What are you
But
doing out here? What's your name? What are you doing out here?
exactly. Nothing. Looking for Bigfoot. Oh,
Yeah,
you getting smart with it, aren't
yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. Think I'm stupid, huh?
you? You think I'm stupid? So yeah, that's yeah, it's yeah, definitely you got to come on to a couple of the we'll make you remember and just come out and because Gwen
Oh,
has
that's great, man.
yeah,
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
absolutely. Because Gwen's property, she's got a lot of activity around her property, so to speak, and it's one of those things where you could probably camp on her, close to her house or like a backyard if you wanted to. But she's got a lot of like she's always hearing like howls, and she's like she hears a lot of weird stuff. So
Man, that's
definitely,
awesome.
yeah. So definitely, yeah, and definitely think about coming up to the that conference too when we have it in the 12th.
I want, yeah, I haven't even been to one yet, man, because there's just not many in this area, and
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's just you got Whitehall, and then you got other than that, you got to go south or
yeah,
west.
and it's a trip. I mean, you're talking usually, you got to take days to do it.
Yeah,
But Pennsylvania, that's definitely doable.
it's
I
not
could
bad. It's like 2.5 from me, so it'd probably be about I want to say 4. It's probably like 3.5 from Mike, so maybe like 4.5 for you.
probably about 4 because I'd
Yeah,
have to travel down the coast of Connecticut
I would go.
around
I would go right
Long
across
Island.
84. I would go right across 84.
Oh, okay, all
Yeah,
right, yeah,
don't even bother going down by the bridge. Just stay north. Go
okay.
across.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd probably be about 4 hours, I would guess. Yeah, that's not bad, dude. I drove that to go up to the Catskills, so it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll be cool. She's got a couple cool speakers, and but you'll be able to meet us, meet the guys, and hang out with us for a little bit.
that would be
Yeah,
awesome, man. I would really love that.
yeah,
Anytime I get the opportunity to meet some people, some good folks in this field who are into this stuff, it's a blessing because, like I said, I've been alone doing this for quite a while now, and for a long time, at least for me, you feel like you got no one to talk to about it, right? Because there's
no,
nobody around me in this area who does this,
no,
and what do? You start telling people like, yeah, I'm into Bigfoot, and they're like, oh,
mm-hmm,
okay, oh,
yeah,
all right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They look at you like you're nuts, and it's
right.
like, all right, well, I'm just gonna stop telling people that from now on.
Well, that's the thing. When you go out, what are you looking for? I'm looking for mountain lions. You know what I mean? They'll say
Yeah.
you're looking for Bigfoot. You're looking for mountain lions. You're looking for
When I'm in the woods, if people are out there and I come across people and they ask me, I tell them
mm,
flat out, I'm looking for Sasquatch. I
nice.
tell you why, because I love having the conversation in the middle of the woods. There's
Mm-hmm.
something about it when somebody's like, they think you're crazy. And then I go,
Mm-hmm.
hey, wait, hold on a second. Let me show you the pictures I got from this area
Yeah.
just a week ago. These are 16-inch footprints in the middle of the woods.
Wow.
So tell me what left those.
Yeah.
Tell me what's on this recording that's making this grunting noise or that's hitting these trees. Like, tell me what animal out here does that. And then you
Yeah.
start to see somebody in that moment. You start to see like either fear come across their
Yep.
face
They're
or the
like,
realization that, oh man, this might be real.
this might be yeah. No, exactly. And
Yeah.
but and that's the one thing with these conferences you go to. People come up and they'll volunteer their stories. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
it's like, I'm a nobody. You know what I mean? Like we've been
Hmm.
doing this 3 years. I'm not don't have a TV show, blah blah blah. But you have just random people coming up to you, and they're not full of crap because you can see their eyes start to tear up, or you see like
Yeah.
I remember this one dude that was in Ohio, and him and his girlfriend were talking about how they had an experience. And I went and followed him to ask him questions. And the first thing the woman said to me, she's like, "You're not going to kill him, are you?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to kill him. I just want to find out more about it." And the guy who's sizable, he's like 6'4", probably 250. He was telling me the story, and swear to God, his hairs on his arms started standing up, and I'm like, you can't fake that. You know
You
what I mean?
can't. You
Yeah, and
can't.
it's like,
and firsthand accounts like that are just so special to hear and to listen to. But you're right. It's different when you get to sit down with somebody and have them talk to you about it, and you see the visceral reaction that happens. You know, either you're the world's greatest actor, or you know, this is real. There's just no other option. And I lean towards, you know, it's obviously real because there's only so many Al Pacinos in the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. You do get the guys too that are there that take 15 pictures of, you know, something that's not even close to a Sasquatch. And he's like, oh, look at this one, look at that one. And I'm like, you know, it looks like a burlap sack. I mean, you know, but, you know, so you get those guys too. But for, you know, very few that come in and tell you, and you're like, you know, and they really mean it. You're like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Dude, it's so funny you mention it because it's something that like I've talked about rather often over the last few months is that there's pictures of stumps and you know, like a dark spot in between some trees where shadows cast, and it's like there's no discernible outline, there's no facial features, there's no hair, there's nothing. You can only go so long with like just saying, well, that's because they hide really well. Well, okay, they do, but you don't go.
Well, they cloak, right?
Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they do, but what I do know is that there have been pictures taken of them in a natural form, right? So, and it only takes a little bit of you know, brain power and sitting down and doing a little bit of really looking, changing the coloring, you know, play with the textures and the filters and the lighting. If someone's telling you something there, it's pretty soon you're going to see that there's usually
nothing there.
There's usually not. And someone's trying to either pawn it off as something just to get, you know, likes or views. Yeah. Or they clickbait, or they believe it. And again, like if they believe it, well, I guess, you know, that's on them, but it's just tough. I'm not going to keep you too much longer, but I wanted to touch on, because we were talking about this and somebody brought it up in the chat. One of the subjects on the show, the last show on Friday, was Tom Biscardi. And if you guys aren't familiar with Tom Biscardi and his whole crew, they were made famous because of a pretty giant hoax that they pulled on the Bigfoot world a few years back, the Georgia Bigfoot hoax, where they had said to have this Bigfoot in the freezer. There was a code name for it. I forget what the code name was. It was like Daisy or I don't know what it was, some crazy thing like that. But he got caught hoaxing. And now apparently he's back at it. He's trying to go to Thailand now and prove that they're there.
The orang pendek.
The orang pendek. What are your thoughts on that?
On him, or just going to? I mean, you know,
whatever you can talk about, whatever you want to discuss.
Brendan's gonna chuckle because I'm always like the guy that's like right on the fence and trying not to ruffle any feathers. But
that's fine.
It's aggravating because you do have people out there that are trying to do the right thing and really investigate and research, but then you get people that want the views and they do the hoaxing. And there's another guy, out in Canada that does the same thing. That Todd, he does. He's known for his hoaxing too. So it's, if you're going to be, if you want to be taken seriously, then have some serious evidence. You know what I mean? If you want to be joked about or talked about in a negative way, then keep on doing what you're doing with the, with the fake bodies and the face. Brendan does a bunch of on our channel. He does a bunch of he debunks a bunch of these different videos that come out. Like the one in Idaho, he did a really good job, and he actually pointed out where you can see like the boot and the costume.
I remember.
Yeah, so it was So I mean, it's like that's just busy work for researchers. You know what I mean? It's like if you're gonna put something out there, then there's gonna be a bunch of people that are gonna be debunking it. But by the time it's debunked, he's already gonna have 1 million views or whatever. So it's,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Integrity
So
doesn't matter. That's
yeah,
the problem. Integrity doesn't matter to people like that.
yeah. So it's like, I mean, if you need the attention that bad to do it, then keep on doing it. But I mean, if you want to further this community with research, then
Yeah, do it the right way.
do it the right way. I mean, because I lean more towards the flesh and blood. And to tell you the truth, if I find out that it's an alien, I'm probably hanging up my hiking boots. Not that I use them that much anyway, but I definitely won't be sitting out in the parking lot in the middle of the night looking for him if I know it's an alien. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah, I don't think it's an alien.
I hope it's not.
I don't
But
I
like,
don't think it's an alien. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it just being like. I think it's a natural being, but
right,
I think that some of this stuff. I think that there's a possibility that maybe it has some kind of
yeah,
supernatural gift.
yeah,
And maybe it's not all of them. Maybe it's just a select group, or
group, yeah,
because there's stories from really credible people, like
oh yeah,
like you said, where you listen to them tell the story and you watch them and you're going, man, it
yeah.
just doesn't seem like they're lying,
No, they can't.
and
Yeah,
they're seeing strange shit and weird
yep,
stuff's happening, and it doesn't really make sense, but um so it's hard for me. I don't know which way. I think I lean more towards the fact that, like, I think it's natural with some
mm,
kind of ability.
yeah,
I don't think it's an alien, but that's just me. Maybe that's more hope than anything, because I have been saying I hope it's not an alien for sure. I don't.
yeah.
Then you're talking about a whole different ball game. Like, I
Oh
think,
yeah,
good
yeah.
God, you could be in way more danger if it's an alien than it being some kind of natural creature. But
Well, this
um,
just real quick, and I know we're getting close, but I mentioned this guy before, Matt Pruitt. I
hmm,
listened to him speak one time at the OBC, Ohio Bigfoot Conference, and he was saying, and he was really interesting. And it's like one of those guys where you leave that and you're like, wow, I think I'm a little bit smarter from listening to this guy. And
yeah,
but he was telling me like how the Siberian tigers and the mountain gorillas, these were all myths. Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they're all myths. They all had this similar, especially like the tigers. They all had like this a similar like MO, lightning fast speed. They could disappear. They can, they're massive. You know what I mean? They're massive animals. You know what I mean? And until they actually were able to get a body, they were just myths, and people were saying like, oh, they just kid was taken away by a Bengal tiger or Siberian tiger. You know what I mean?
yep.
So I think, listening to him, I could definitely, like I said, I hope that Bigfoot is something like that, but I'm definitely going to be open-minded about everyone else's research. But like I said, as soon as I see one coming out of the UFO, I'm staying inside for us. I'll
Yeah,
be, I'll be a keyboard jockey again.
yeah, I don't know about all that stuff. That stuff scares me. Actually, real quick, and then we'll get
Hmm?
out of here. You see, I'm sure you saw the UFO thing from Vegas, the thing that fell out of the
Oh
sky.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What'd you think about that?
I think I think our government knows a lot more
Uh,
about UFOs. I mean,
yeah,
we had this Mike and I had this guy on our show last year, last year, 2 years ago, Jody Cook, and he was talking. He's a big Dogman guy, and he was like at this conference and in Vegas, and he had some guy. He was just drinking a beverage in the bar, and he had this guy come up to him, say he was like, he used to be at work at Area 51, and he told him how the government has like this room of like just you know a lot more than two or three aliens in there, so, and it's like I think just with the stealth technology we have and just all the different stuff that the military has to play with, I think they know a lot more. But I think I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I think they're releasing it now to distract people from other things. You know what I
I
mean?
agree 100%. I
Yeah.
absolutely
So
agree with you.
yeah.
Listen, for them to come out, after all these years and finally admit that
Yeah.
UFOs are real and they
Mm-hmm.
visit this planet, this should have been the biggest news story of the last 100 years. It should have been that the
Yep.
United States government acknowledges that UFOs and aliens are real, right? That should have been giant. It should have been huge. And it was like this, boom, and it was over that fast. A couple days, people were like, "Oh, what?" They said it was real cool, man. And then that was it, because you'd been so desensitized over the years by feeding you this stuff through media and TV and movies and all that shit, that they got to the point where they couldn't hide it anymore. There were too many credible people coming forward. And who when you do your background research into these people, they're beyond reproach. These people are honest. They have impeccable records with the military and yada yada. So they couldn't say that these people were kooks or crazy anymore. They had to do something. They were backed into a corner, and they were like, "Well, shit. All right. Well, let's just admit it." And now that there's all these other people coming forward, these whistleblowers who are promised that they'd be protected. If they did, it's putting them into even a more of a position where they have to give more information. But I think it's twofold. I think it's like you said, they're doing it willingly now because there's something else that they don't want us to see.
So it's like, here, look over here. And
it's the magic trick, man. It's the magic trick. It's the sleight of hand. It's, you're looking over here, and the watch comes off your wrist over here. You have no idea it's even happening. But that video is crazy, though, man. On a police body cam, this green things flying, and in one part, I had that video up and was kept like scrubbing through it back and forth, zooming in, pausing it. At one part in that video, you can see what, if you pause the video, you can see what looks like the perfect outline of a circle, like in the sky. You could see a green glowing trail behind it. Right. Kind of illuminating from the bottom, but you could see this perfect outline. I mean, like perfect circle.
Wow.
Really weird, man. Just strange shit. And then the guy, again, you listen to these people, he didn't sound like he was freaking out. He sounded like he was a little bit nervous. Obviously, he sounded like he was kind of like, "What the hell?"
Right.
But he sounded very reasonable and normal. He didn't sound like he was crazy. He didn't sound like he was faking anything to me. And people who were saying like it's a hoax because they didn't film it. I hate this argument. Like, why are Bigfoot photos all blurry? Why don't people run towards them and film them? It's like, dude, if you're ever in a position where there's an 8 to 10 foot tall bipedal hominid in the woods in front of you, and it's not supposed to exist, I beg you to tell me that you're going to go forward.
Yeah. When people talk about the blurry, perfect example. I got a cat that lives with me, Petey, right? He'll be doing something stupid or like sit in a stupid way. I go to take a picture of him, go to grab a camera, unlock the thing, go to take a picture, and he's moved already. Or he's like, he's like halfway out the picture. That's a fucking cat that, I know exists. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to take, you should hopefully video something and follow it. But I mean, to take one picture, you're going to most likely, you're going to get something that's like, half in
nerves,
the picture,
you're shaking, you're trying to keep the camera still. And that's if anybody even has the wherewithal in that moment to grab a camera, because most normal people, if they come in contact with something like this, are going to freak out and they're going to be like, "Get the hell out of here. Go, go, go."
Well, that's the one thing when I tried to grab my, when I saw that thing I thought I saw, I tried to grab my phone, and of course I was pushing it away from me. And, by the time I looked down to pick up, and then I saw the thing, so like, that's why I couldn't take a crappy picture of that thing. So,
it happens quick usually too. It's always in this like instant. It happens. It's not nothing standing there going, "Take a picture of me."
Yeah, he's like, "Look at my better side."
My good side.
The duck lips. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the duck lips. Doesn't happen that way. Jeez Louise, that was good. Oh man. Well, Chuck, listen, we've been on for about 90 minutes. That's usually what I like to do. After that, people generally lose interest, start going to bed. But this was fun, man. This was wonderful. I really appreciate you coming on. I had a really good time tonight. And
absolutely, man. I'm glad I could fill in, man. Because we had this guy jump out on you, right? Like you said, like beginning of the week.
So I was talking to Mike about it. I was trying to get paranormal investigators on for a little while, and I had people just bailed. But the guy who I was talking to, we hadn't made a plan yet. We were kind of throwing dates out, And
Right.
one of the dates was this Wednesday, and I was just kind of waiting for him to tell me because I had asked him already. I didn't want to then go and tell him, hey, sorry, now I can't do Wednesday because I booked somebody else. You know what I mean? So I was just waiting for him to tell me if he could or not. And he said, no, I can't do Wednesday. So yeah, no, it was cool, man. I was doing 3 shows a week before, and like I was burning myself out. Now I'm like, I got to the point where I'm just like, if I get somebody that can come on the show and I can do a show a week, then I'm going to do a show a week. If they can't, then I'm not. You get to the point where you just go, I can't burn myself out doing
it. You can't stress yourself either, because I'm sure you got a million other things going on besides this. So
it's like anybody else, man. Life, just life is always happening. So but yeah, I appreciate it. This was really fun, man. You were awesome.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And like I said, you gotta, become, join our team, become one part of our team, and definitely come out and visit, with the at the that conference we have in August 12th.
I would love to, dude. I definitely want to get down there for sure, man. And I really appreciate the invite. That means a lot to me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do I have to get jumped in or anything? It's like a beat down or?
Yeah. I'll have Mike beat you down. Yeah. Oh yeah, 6'3", 287. Nah, I'll pass. He's good. But we go out and we just, and even if we're not, like we're doing like the Tom Messick thing, I don't know if we Mike talked about that guy that's missing. I mean, we do that stuff too.
Yeah, so cool, man.
Yeah, Sean does like a bunch of paranormal stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's always.
No, I'm good with that. I'm all set with that.
You're good with the paranormal? Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, yeah.
I'm interested in it from afar. I don't want to be in with it. I don't want to be at places with it that I know that's there. It's just too scary for me. There's too many bad things that happen to people.
Yeah, I don't want attachments. Yeah,
I don't want attachments. I don't want any of that. I have a background enough where I would be a perfect target for one of these things, like depression, anxiety, PTSD. Like I'm good, dude. I don't want anything to do with that shit. My mom would kill me. She's always telling me, she's like, you better stay away from that goddamn shit, that paranormal shit.
Yeah, that's creepy. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Good. All right, so we'll hang up by the car and look for Bigfoot in the parking lots.
Sounds good, dude. I'll bring the Pop-Tarts.
There you go, brother. All right.
All right. Well, listen, guys, I will be back this weekend. I'll be back at the property. Again, I can't promise a signal because sometimes we get one, sometimes we don't. If I get one, then I'll go live. If I don't, then I won't. But I'll still record. I'll still leave the recorder out there this weekend, and then we'll go back again and pick it up next weekend while I'm still working on this long-term recorder thing to be built to leave out there for 3 weeks or a month. And then next week we'll be back with another show on Wednesday. So until then, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all. Have a wonderful night. Till next time. Take care.